Every team strives for shelves of trophies. But what makes a club great? Passion, loyalty, and pride. The burning energy of its fans. Endless loyalty to nature, the colors, and determination is what makes us immortal.
For those out there who don't.
I play centre. Started out then, just kept playing and loved it ever since.
Held by the ball, we can't put it down, but that's okay. It's in the blood, no dramas. What position do you?
And good afternoon and welcome to Tap Out Energy Stadium here at Logan, the home of the East Tigers. Welcome back to Tap Out Energy Stadium. Enjoy this up there.
There are good spirits among the squads. The pressure of the new season.
Good afternoon and welcome everyone to the TigerTV broadcast round 2. Live special with you on we're here to win premiership. Record will be this.
Tona's Travel and Cruise has been offering tailor-made honeymoons for approximately 25 years. Since then, they've built an impeccable reputation on delivering inspiring honeymoons custom designed for each couple, no matter how unique or romantic.
top of the table clash in the Intrust Super Cup Saturday afternoon at Sunshine Coast Stadium. The Falcons and the Tigers doing battle, both teams undefeated. Perfect start to the home side. Nat McGavin scoring in just the second minute.
Here they go, the Falcons, quick hands out wide. McGavin for the line, beats one, beats another, slams the ball down, try.
Todd Murphy, usually setting up tries, then scored one himself in the 8th minute. The Falcons off to a flyer.
Todd Murphy.
With 16 minutes left in the first half, Chris Lewis crossed.
Puts in a kick, Hines can't handle it, puts it down, not back.
At the break, the Falcons in front 16 points to 0. A perfect start for the Falcons in the second half. McGavin crossing for his second.
So Hines down the short side to McGavin. And he's in.
It was 30 points to 0 in the 62nd minute when Harry Grant scored.
On the inside ball, and that'll be the ball game. The Falcons are in.
Aaron Booth scored this consolation try for the Tigers with 3 minutes left. The Falcons, 6 from 6 to start off the 2019 season. Far too strong for the Tigers, 30 points to 6. Peter Basoldis, Queensland Rugby League.
There's always something going on down at East Leagues Club. Check out this Drysdale brasserie option. 2 for $25, pizza or any 2 bang meals. And membership is still only $2. Come down to East where we're just having a great time.
Both the Pride and the Magpies desperate for 2 competition points as they did battle at Barlow Park in Cairns. Tom Hancock opened the scoring for the Pride in just the 10th minute. 5 minutes later, and the Magpies had their first try. Matt Sopolola crossing in the 15th minute. Three minutes later, and the Magpies are in again, this time through Mitch Fry. Sopolola then helped himself to a first half double when he scored this 4-pointer in the 23rd minute. At the break, the Magpies in front 16 points to 6. Aidan Day got the Pride within 4 points with this try, 19 minutes left on the clock. But that's as close as the Pride got to the Magpies. South's too strong in the end to win by 4, 16 points to 12. Peter Basoldis, Queensland Rugby League.
Josh Ralph, I believe this is the first interview we've ever done with you. Thanks for your time today. You've had a pretty colourful career so far. I'm not going to name them all, but I guess starting in the Gold Coast competitions and with the NRL with the Gold Coast Titans and Newcastle Knights, and then eventually making your way here to East. You also played for your country, Wales, in the 2017 Rugby League World Cup. Tell us a bit about that experience.
That was pretty big for me. I was 19 years old at the time. Just got a call up, do you want to be part of it? And obviously took advantage of that and was lucky enough to play, but yeah, it was an honour to do so.
What made you come to East last season?
I think the big thing was, transitioning from 20s into Cup. A lot of players, they think you go from 20s in the NRL and it just doesn't work like that. And I think that's something that I learned transitioning. Coming to East, I think it was, it was more of a challenge option rather than just taking it easy and staying on the Gold Coast. Obviously, I still live on the Gold Coast and drive up, but just the club itself, the success it's had in the past, I guess, and yeah, just made me want to come here.
So last weekend against the Capras was obviously a great win. Other than your 2 try assists and Albie scoring a hat-trick, is there anything that really stood out to you from that game?
I think the big thing is we had a fair few players out. It's good to know that, if we do have players out, there's other players there that are ready to go, that will step in for them. We had 2 players go down early in the match, which, I thought we could be in some trouble here, but you know, we held on, and it was a strong win from the boys.
I'd already touched on this earlier with Sips, but this weekend against the Sunshine Coast Falcons is a top of the table clash. We are both 5 out of 5 wins, which is an awesome start to the season. Please do me a favour and just knock on some wood. What should we be focusing on this week?
I said from day one, even in pre-season, I said our biggest challenge is going to be coming up against Sunny Coast. I think they're the favourites to win the comp, so I said it from day one, but I just think we've got to stick to what we've been doing all year, and honestly, I think we'll come away with a win if we do that.
Now, is there any one player, or more than one, of course, from the Falcons that the boys should be cautious of?
Nah, I think, you know, they're Storm connections. We've got to watch out for those sorts of players, just like they should for ours. But nah, no one in particular, just the whole team. They've been going well, just like us, so we just got to, you know, rip in.
Now, the commentary on Channel 9 over the weekend did say that being a male model should be on your resume.
Yeah.
What was that all about?
Oh, that was just a big stitch up, 100%. I've been stitched up there. I had a few people message me after the game. Yeah, my phone was going off about that, and I didn't have much to say. But yeah, quality stitch up, whoever's done it. Yeah, I take my hat off to you.
Well, we all had a good laugh about that.
Yeah.
Now, I have been told to ask you the following questions.
Yeah.
Tell us about your personal car spot in the car park here.
Yeah, ever since I started here, there's a little spot there that's actually not marked out as a car spot, but I seem to just, every time I come here, I get to snag it, and it's right, it's the closest to everything, so I'm pretty fortunate enough that everyone sort of knows that that's just mine now, and I get away with it, so yeah.
And lastly, I have heard you are trying to start a new trend with your haircut.
I gave it a crack for a week, and then I've scrapped it. Got too much negative impact from it, so I just thought, nah, I'm going back to what I'm used to.
Well, obviously I wasn't doing anything with your game, so That's also a positive.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time, Josh, and good luck for this weekend.
Nah, cheers, thank you.
Tampa Zone, manufacturers of air conditioning and ventilation equipment, know the importance of local sporting clubs like East Tigers and are a proud sponsor in the team behind the Tigers. Tampa Zone, giving you complete control.
The current Twin Trust Super Cup ladder, as of this recording.
Getting from here to there has a black and white solution. Black and White Cabs makes it as easy as 1, 2, 3. Booking is as simple as tapping on our easy-to-use Black and White Cabs app. You can also book online at blackandwhitecabs.com.au, or simply pick up the phone and call Black and White Cabs on 133 222. Our fixed price fares ensure you know exactly how much your ride will cost. Black and White Cabs, the simple, safe and surge-free solution.
There's always something going on down at East Leagues Club. Check out this Drysdale brasserie option. 2 for $25, pizza or any 2 bang meals. Or check out our seniors lunch special at $8.90. Desserts included. And on Monday nights, you can get a 300 gram porterhouse for $14.90 for members. And membership is still only $2. Come down to East where we're just having a great time.
Queensland, Way of Law, and East Tigers presents TigerTV.
Well, good evening and welcome to tonight's coverage of the Round 7 clash of the Intrust Super Cup. Tonight's game from Langlands Park in Brisbane, the East Tigers come up against South Logan Magpies. The East Tigers, they're positioned nicely, second on the table at the moment on 10 points. They've won 5 out of the first 6 games, suffering their first loss last week, a top-of-the-table clash to the Sunshine Coast Falcons. They lost that game in surprisingly big margin by 30 points to 6, and they'll be out to redeem themselves tonight. South Logan, on the other hand, they're equal 8th on the table. They've only got 4 points. They've won 2 from 6. But importantly, they were last start winners, defeating the Northern Pride by picking up 4 points, and they beat them by 16 points to 12. Tonight we've got the East Tigers. They're a feeder to the Storm, the Melbourne Storm Club, and South Logan a feeder club, or one of the feeder clubs, to the Brisbane Broncos. With me tonight, I've got Gavin Payne in commentary. Welcome, Gavin. Good to see you.
Yeah, g'day, Dave. It's good to be here at Tigerland again.
And, mate, we should give a call to our normal co-commentator, Warren Boland. I know he's down in New South Wales at the moment having a family holiday, and he told me he'd be listening and watching tonight. So, good on you, Warren. No tweeting, mate. We don't want to have any feedback during the game, but we look forward to having a good match here tonight. It'll be a really good match, I think, Gav. Even though the sides are in different positions on the table, there's plenty of ability in both sides, a bit of strength with NRL experience as well. Should be a good match.
Yeah, look, typically with these sides, Dave, you do see a fair turnover of players throughout the off-seasons and that, and that does take a little while, as you know, from experience to get that combination back again and running smoothly. So, you know, East have probably negated that a little bit by getting 5 of those first 6 matches in the winning fashion, but South Logan have come out of the blocks a little bit more slowly. I do notice that you mentioned that South won that game last week, which was their second win. So it was a very good win. I'm particularly looking forward to a battle in the halves in Billy Walters, who you're knocking on the door down at the Storm, against Tanner Boyd, an up-and-coming young halfback, I think, in the Broncos system.
He is on the books here at the Broncos. There's a bit of a warm-up there by the Tigers. And let's have a look at the East Tigers team that'll take the field. Matt Cooper there is at fullback. Tom Hughes and Curtis Danzy Smaller on the wings, Newnham and Kenny in the centres, and then the halves, as Gavin mentioned, Billy Walters connected up with the Storm system, and a very important player in terms of the influence on this game. Josh Ralph, a good young player as well, and in the forwards, Amy Booth and Lavea in the front row, and then in the back row, Jack Svensson, Patrick Kafusi and Bennett Leslie. Leslie's had a very good season so far this year, as has the number 9 in Booth. Interchange, Foster, Tuolungi, Hunt and Wilson. The reserves, Fye won't be required. He's an extra there as if necessary. And the coach, of course, is Scott Sipple. Now let's have a look at the South Logan Magpies side. And as I say, they've had a bit of a slow start to the season, had a win last week, and across the board, Gav, they look a lot of youth in the side, but they got a sprinkling of a couple of very experienced old heads there as well.
Well, they've got the oldest head of all in Phil Dennis. Obviously, he's played upwards of 270 games in the Queensland Cup.
The highest number of anyone, I think it is, isn't it?
Number 1 spot. Yeah, that's correct. So, yeah, look, they have, Mania Cherrington's been around in systems previously. Guy Hamilton's quite experienced as well. Link Port, of course, played here last year over the last few seasons and so forth. So, they'll have a pretty good showing of themselves. Here's their team list. We've got at fullback, we've got Jerome Burns. On the wings, as I mentioned, it was Link Porter and Matthew Sopolola. In the centres is Finatisi Nui and Cameron Booth. Hamilton and Boyd in the halves. And the pack is George Fye, Mania Cherrington, Harrison Muller in the front row, and Mitch Fry, Brendan Gibb and Rory Ferguson make up the back row. On the bench, we've got the interchange specialist in Phil Dennis. Before that, we've got Alex Bishop and Brendan Gibb, and Sam TigerTV, and George Fye is the other reserve who has come in there, who's dropped out of the starting side.
Yeah, Patrick Mago there has come into the side, the big number 17. He's tied up with the Broncos. Sam TigerTV on the bench is also a Bronco. We've got some big boys playing out here today, and I'm sure we're going to have a very top-class match to enjoy here this evening. And of course, Easter Thursday. So what a way to start your Easter weekend is live streaming with TigerTV. And of course, then you'll be able to have a very, as these players will, I guess they'll be enjoying this, Gav. You get the footy out of the way and enjoy your 4-day break.
Yeah, look, I think it's a great idea. I think there's 4 matches tonight, David, of the 7 or 8 that we've got throughout the course of the weekend. So, it does give the players, at the beginning or a third of the way through the season, perhaps an opportunity to kick back and relax and just get away from the football, set their mind to other activities before they get back into the weekly grind.
Certainly does, but all attention now comes to this particular 80 minutes. The Tigers, as we say, have had a very good start, contrary to their start last year. And there is the ball being set up by Tom Hughes on a very awkward angle. This is the one they try and float. Have a look at the angle he's on. Wobbles it, floats it, awkward one. Got the bounce and therefore safely taken by the Magpies. But that's always a very awkward ball, that one. And they've done well. There's Mago that brings up the first ball.
Release now.
Referees for today's game is Belinda Sharp. And she will be adjudicating on the match. She's not far off, they tell me, NRL status, but just still going through a number of intra-super cup games. In fact, her 40th game. Here's the big fellow in Mago. Pops the pass up nicely there to Mitch Fry. They've got up over to almost the halfway line. They've done it pretty comfortably as well. Kick downfield. Pretty much a copybook start, and it's a good kick as well. He's put it in behind players. If he can get it to sit in the end goal area, it won't. So it's just gone over the dead ball line and coming back to the 20-metre line for a 7-tackle set.
Yeah, very fast pitch here at Langlands Park. They keep the grass well short, so I'm sure Boyd will learn from that and just drop those kicks a little bit shorter in future.
Yeah, this should ensure that the Tigers get up well over the halfway line. You got a 7-tackle set. You'll roll up field pretty comfortably. Pass on the outside there. I think that's to was it Svensson? Up over the halfway line, the Tigers, so they're doing it pretty easy as well. Up nice and flat out there to Billy Walters. Pass up this time to Kafusi, tries to bump one away, almost did. Momentarily had his hand ready to offload, but wasn't able to. Coming back down the middle now, good strong run there by Amy. He had a good game a couple of weeks ago against the Capras. Loose play the ball and a penalty. Interference in the play the ball gives the Tigers a penalty first up and an option, Gav, for a goal or to go on with the job.
Yeah, look, I think this day and age that most of the coaches and the players are keen to keep the attacking football happening. Let's hope it happens here as well. Looks like it will with Billy Walters taking the tap.
Quick tap it is up there to Amy. Charges forward, great opportunity, but you need to capitalise on these. You either want to get a try out of it or at the very least a restart of the tackle count. Pass up this time to Billy Walters. Walters fires the pass out there to Platham, out there to Cooper it was. It went through the hands of Ralph previously and they've gone straight into touch. Well, that's what you don't want. Good opportunity to set a platform and the Tigers going laterally and being forced into touch.
And good defence by the Magpies there as well. It looked like East had a good number of their players stacked out to that left-hand side, left attacking side. Just through that cutout pass, perhaps through the hands might have been more of the go, but wasn't the case. And the slide of the Magpies defence bundled Curtis Smalley it's Hughes out that side into touch.
Yeah, didn't give him any room to move, so they were hoping to put him into space with that little play at the back, but weren't able to. Still fired him the pass and gave him no chance to stay in touch. Now another chance for the Magpies, who throw a second pass off the base of the scrum inside their own 10. That's a little bit unusual. Linkport it was who came up to play the ball. And of course Linkport was here at the Tigers last year, had a very good season, switched over to the Magpies this year. Big fella there in Muller, Harrison Muller. There's plenty of size in these forward packs. East lacked a bit of size last year, but they've certainly built up this fella here, Patrick Mago, on the Broncos books. He's a giant. They work out a dummy half, straight up the middle again. Good little run there by Fry. Gets it up over the halfway line. In a dummy half there, Cherrington. This time it's Tanner Boyd. Knocks it down and taken cleanly by Cooper. And quickly to defence up. Cooper stopped as he came to the defensive line. and therefore was quite simply tipped into the turf. And a chance for the Tigers again. Pretty tidy so far from both sides, other than the time the Tigers went into touch. Not too much ball being thrown around, but that's fair enough at this stage of the game. Run out of dummy half there by Booth. He is very dangerous, Aaron Booth, up over the halfway line. They go ahead well, gone in. Oh, that's exactly what the Tigers didn't want there. Because Leslie, I think, wasn't expecting the pass. Possibly Leslie, no. It's Amy putting his hand up. So the ball looked like he thought it was going in behind him. Actually hit him in that passing movement. And the Tigers again not finishing their set, Gav.
Yeah, and they've generally been quite good at getting through their completions. They were quite good against the Sunshine Coast last week, even despite the scoreline being heavily against them in that match. And just a little bit of miscommunication that can happen when your dummy half is actually playing the ball in Booth, who'd made that previous run, and then you get someone who's not used to bending his back and being in there as the acting dummy half.
What it does, it gives the Magpies the first chance to get up the other end of the park and play a bit of attack football. They're in the opposition half for the first time, and rest assured they'll be dangerous. Linkport to play it. Charge up the middle there by Gibb. Setting a platform. They're still pretty flat in attack, but that's okay. All they want to do is punch forward a few times. Boyd, they're going to link it through the hands. Pass on the outside there to Fry. So they are mixing it up a bit. They showed a good three-pass movement to the left, which will stretch the defensive line. Pass on the outside through Hamilton. On the outside, Cherrington. Another long punching run there by the Magpies. So they're looking tidy. In the contrary, they've got it to the end of their sixth. Tanner Boyd puts it in. Nice work there by Cooper at the back. It was an awkward one to take. Bouncing up awkward at his ankles, and he did well to recover.
Hey, impressed by the South Logan set of six there. Just a couple of settlers early and then a spread left, and then immediately again in situation to spread back to the right. So really testing the edge defence of these Tigers.
Tigers now to work it out. This is a little bit of chess being played at the moment as another fumble of the ball. That's 3 times in a row the Tigers have failed to finish their set of 6. Leslie, who's been one of their best players, Bennett Leslie, this year, was hit heavily in the tackle. The ball squirted out. And eventually you pay the price, Gav. If you're going to keep continuously giving back ball, you're going to get stung.
Yeah, and look, it wears your defence down, as you know, David. And Tanner Boyd and a couple of kicks that he's put in so far haven't been as good as he potentially would like. So if he can correct that as well, that will put added pressure on, either tying the Tigers right down in their defensive 10-metre area, or in fact perhaps getting goal line dropouts and repeat sets.
All right, this is a great chance for the Magpies now. They will, if they get through their set of 6, will definitely put pressure on the try line. Dashing run there by Jerome Burns down that right-hand side. Causes the scrum, the defensive pack to move across. Up there to Muller. He goes straight ahead. So a couple of runs straight at the back. I'm sure they're going to put something on here now. Up there to Hamilton. Hamilton looks for a couple of dummy runners. Couldn't be handled there out the back by, I think, Burns. Well, what have we got here? A late and high tackle. Yes, we have. High tackle. Well, in back play. Was it Hamilton, possibly? So late and high. That's a bad double, that. And they also, let's have a look here. This is the preceding play. This is where they run a number of, this is the Tigers where they squirt the ball out. I think that's... Okay, let's see what happens now, because the Magpies have taken the tap as we expected. Pass up there this time to Ferguson. Gets up inside the 10-metre line. Pressure on the Tigers' defence. Can they hold? Up there to Tanner Boyd. Goes himself. Not ideal for a young kid to be forced to run at that situation. Sure, if the opportunity's on, but you don't want to be running and just getting crashed in that situation. Back this time, Hamilton will be first receiver. Goes to the line. Pops the pass up there to Burns. Burns has just held up a couple of metres from the line. Strong defence. A couple of players in there from the Tigers. Last tackle play. Hamilton spins, gives it to Fry, who then spins, I should say, and Fry is across. Hamilton, a nice little short pass, and made it look pretty easy. Last tackle play, you've really got to make sure you number up. And good work by Hamilton, got to the line, and then Mitch Fry, when he got into the line, took the ball, and that spinning action, he actually just spun himself away from the attempted tackle. And first try to the Magpies.
Yes, indeed, David, and they've had all the pressure, as you said. 3 back-to-back errors by the Tigers will put pressure on any defence, and here we see Hamilton just goes to the line. Was the last tackle, and Fry there just took the ball right on the ad line. Was good enough to get on an outside shoulder of one of the East defenders there, most likely possibly Shane Newman there. I just missed that. We'll have another look here, but just got into the gap. Got a beautiful ball, obviously. Perhaps waiting back here a little bit, just on the outside there. It was a big front rower in Amy actually, and inside of Newman. Tom Kenny, the young colt that's come up to play in this match. So first points to the South Logan Magpies. We've got their 5/8 in Hamilton just lining up the conversion here for the perfect start for them. And no, it's away to the right hand side. So first blood to the South Logan Magpies. They lead 4 points to 0.
Well, it was almost inevitable. If you give them enough chances, they're going to take them. Admittedly, they made an error themselves, but they were good enough to get the ball back. Got good field position, and almost without exception, good sides will get you. If you get enough possessions, particularly in continuity, if you get that continuity, you're very hard to hold out. And now let's see what Tom Hughes can do with this kick again. They like to kick across it, wobble it, curve it, bounce it, spin it. Does pretty well. It worked very well. It didn't quite get to the end result, and that was to try and get it into the end goal area. But pretty awkward kickoff, Gav.
Yeah, they're never easy when they're bouncing around at your feet.
A bit like my drives. They sort of go sideways and spin, and even when I'm not trying to do that on the golf course. But he certainly has that pat. Mago now takes it up the middle. Giant of a man, pops it out the back door, does well. Tries to shrug away then. I think that was Cherrington. Yes, it was. Hamilton works the dummy half. Up the middle again, Mago. He was originally picked on the bench, obviously wearing 17. George Fye will come on shortly. A penalty here will go to the Magpies. They are on a roll at the moment, and a lot of this is self-inflicted by the East Tigers. They've made errors. They're now getting a little bit frustrated. This big guy is causing them a real handful.
Yeah, look, he is, David. Magpies at the moment haven't made an error in this match. They're 6 from 6, which obviously continues to pile the pressure onto the East Tigers in the early part of this match.
Let's see whether their defence can hold this time, because they got to the 6th tackle last time and then let in what was a fairly soft try in all effect. This time, a charge up the middle again. Good platform to attack from. You love to get to midfield. They always mix it up a bit. Quick play the ball there by Ferguson. Out through the hands of Hamilton. Hamilton fires it out then to Boyd. Boyd quick hands through the hands as well, and out to New. He tries to get away from the defence, but they get across there to cover him. They'll come back this other way. Tanner Boyd up this time to Cherrington. That's Hamilton. This time again, Fry. Fry just charges. He's going to get over the line again. Will he get forced back? Just. He almost strolled across again off a simple pass off Hamilton. They're struggling to hold him out here wide. Here's a big lad for a left side runner. Little chip over the top. Well done by the Tigers. Grabbed it up there to Hughes. Now they've got to hold the ball. You've got to get to the end of your set of 6. You can't give it back to them. You'll be out of gas. Charge up the middle. I think that's Lindsay again, or Leslie, I should say. This time, and he often does it. Danzy Smaller doesn't mind coming in to take a ruck up the middle. Pass on the outside. I think that's Amy. Booth drops into dummy half. They're tightly got up over the halfway line. Pass back on the inside again, Leslie. Up to the 40. Can they get to the kick, and can it be a good attacking kick? Good position to put a high one up. Don't put it too deep. Don't make it too easy for him to catch it. High ball up. Winger under a bit of pressure. Takes it nicely. And that's Sopalola. So at least Gav got to the end of their 6. It'll force the Magpies to work out of their own territory.
Yeah, well, it was very important that they stopped that right from those drop balls that they had previously. Just a little bit disappointed. I thought they could have put more pressure on Sopalola there. He's had a relatively straightforward take in that instance, and the Magpies back on the halfway line here after this run.
easily getting up over the halfway line, actually. That's that third tackle, no, fourth tackle. So they should be able to keep a bit of pressure on. Back down the middle comes Link Port, playing against his old teammates. Always a dangerous play if you can wrong foot the attack down that blind side. Tanner Boyd. Again, quite a simple take there by Cooper. Under a bit of pressure, but does well, Matt Cooper, to get away from a couple. And it's so important. You get on the front foot straight away, roll the defence back. You set the scene for the whole set of 6.
Yeah, a couple of good restarts there on the last 2 sets by the East Tigers, and they're looking forward to just keep that momentum rolling here.
Yeah, they'll need to sharpen up their game after 3 errors in a row. Almost up to the halfway line, the Tigers. Haven't really got some good attack ball yet, or the little bit they did, they frittered it away by going to touch an early tackle count. They are rolling up the park pretty well. Up here to Billy Walters, throws a bit of a dummy, goes himself, looks for support, does brilliantly well to turn it back on the inside to Kenny. Kenny also close, about a metre short. Good quick play, the ball's required. There to Booth. Booth fires the pass out. Up there to Ralph, grubber kick through, didn't get through the line, play on, played at.
Penalty.
He's offside. Oh, okay, to the Tigers. So it bounced off, he played at it and then came forward to the man. You're not an accidental offside if you're in front of the player and you intentionally play at it. You are if it merely rebounds and it hits you. Up the middle go the Tigers. They're trying to at least equal the ledger. They're down by 4 points to 0 after 15 minutes. He managed to force his way over the try line, but we'll come back now. He's an aggressive runner, that Bennett Leslie. Came down from Mackay Cutters this year. They go out to, it looks like Booth is trying to get over himself. Held up again. Twice in a row, forced back.
Tackle 2 out there.
Tackle 2, so still plenty more to go. You need to set one of your favourite plays here. Plenty of players in motion. It's a Melbourne feeder club. You'd think they'd be using plenty of that. Levea goes close, spins around, can't get across.
1 forward.
Need to play that ball quicker than that. Could have been a penalty, I thought. Up this time to Billy Walters. Out there to Kafusi. Kafusi cut down. Quick play the ball. That's what you want to see. Up there to Walters. Walters long pass out there to Ralph. Steps back on the inside. Oh, hit high. Hit high. Not appreciated at all. Not appreciated at all. The penalty had been given. This is a waste of time these days with players coming in. After the referee's seen it, all you're going to do is come in and push and shove. I know there's a frustration when you see one of your teammates hit. What do you do now, Gav?
Yeah, look,
keep going?
Oh, yeah, I think they have to keep going, Dave. Obviously, this break that we're going to have here, while cautions and sorting out who threw which handbag to which person gets sorted out, will give the South Logan players an opportunity to redraw their breath after 2 or 3 sets in a row. But let's have a listen to the ref here. It'd be interesting. I'm not sure whether it was Hamilton or not that put the high tackle on, but
I'll have a chat to him as I go back here. The reason Billy comes in is Guy Hamilton comes down with the forearm to the head after the high tackle.
Right.
And Billy and Guy had a little push and shove here earlier, so it's carried on into that.
Okay. Guy
Hamilton being called out.
No, thanks.
For dropping an elbow onto the player on the ground after the high shot.
For the high tackle. The contact on the ground is going on report. You're the captain, Guy. I expect better from you. You need to control what's happening. Thank you. Billy,
when you get Josie on that.
Billy Walters is also going to be spoken to here for coming in to try and defend one of his teammates, and if it was a second action after a high shot, it's probably validated.
for you to come running from a distance and escalate it. Okay?
Yeah, changing his jersey into number 19. Billy Walters now wearing 19, so he's...
when you're ready, go.
Whether there was a bit of blood on the jersey or it got ripped. Either way, it needed to be replaced. Okay, let's see what the Tigers can do from here. Booth at dummy half. Fires the pass out there to Ralph. Ralph pops the pass up. Can't be 3 defenders straight in there on the Tigers to wrap them up straight away. That didn't fool anyone. Booth flies the long pass each one forward. Went out to Hughes. It was a long and almost loping and delayed pass. The idea was terrific. Hughes is a bit surprised as... and obviously we didn't have a great angle, but Didn't look hugely bad from here.
I didn't see you call it either, Dave. Presumably it was a touch judge because we had the referee in centre field, so to speak. So, yeah, wingers are always bemused when they don't get. Have a look here.
This is the play that the preceding ruck, which then just draws a couple. What it does do, it isolates the winger in link court. The idea was terrific. Didn't look too bad even then. That's cool. So off the hook there, the Magpies, that they work their way out of their own territory, not afraid to throw a couple of passes in close to the ruck either. Play the ball there by Booth. That is Cameron Booth. Booth on both on each side. Play the ball here now by Brendan Gibb, the big fellow in George Fye. So he's come back on. He's the one I think who was initially replaced by Mago. So they've got a couple of giants on the field now. Bit of pressure here now. And was that knocked forward? No, play on it is. Up there this time to Kenny. Went through the fingers of Dancy Smaller. There's a bit of feeling in this game. There's a little bit of feeling and stripping action there, which is brought about by trying to slow things down. There's the tackle made, and
we're going to go on the one for a little while.
The tackle is still in action, and it was 1-on-1. Anyway, the referee believed that was a strip after the tackle had been effected. There it is to Kafusi. Gets it up almost to the halfway line. Another good chance for the Tigers, but they're 0 on the scoreboard at the moment. They're down by 4 points to 0. Billy Walters goes across, picks up Ralph. Ralph on the outside there to Cooper. Good cover defence. 3 tacklers in there from the Magpies, including Brendan Gibb. This time up the middle. That's I think that's Hughes. Not only too happy to come in and take a run up the middle. Pass up this time to Amy. He's a big lad too, and has good leg action there. Keeps the legs pumping. Play the ball, mate. Don't talk to the referee about it. He's wasted a second. Up there to Walters. Walters fires the pass up to Kafusi. Didn't look too tidy to me, that. A little bit disjointed. Things aren't quite clicking for the Tigers at the moment, as they just trying to build a bit of attack. Billy Walters, nice little set piece that couldn't come up. Back there to Cooper. Last tackle play. They've got to keep it alive. Billy Walters goes forward and tackle. You can't afford that little fumble, Gav, or the little back play on the 6th tackle. You're not going to get a positive kick in.
Yeah, well, you're not going to get a positive kick in, and generally don't get a positive result from running the football either, and just creates that little bit of confusion and disarray in the attacking line, and consequently unable to get any sort of kick away or any real pressure on the Magpies there on the last tackle. But a completed set it was, and that's better than an incomplete set.
Okay, Jerome Burns now to bring it out almost up to his own 40-metre line on the 2nd tackle, so they should comfortably get out of their own territory. Big George Fay, or Fye I should say, 120 kilos, George. So when he takes it forward, they will go forward. Good little work here, nice work by Nui. And he's in a touch. Nice little footwork early, but really no excuse to end up in touch at that part of the field. The only time wingers should be going into touch is if they're going for the corner. And these days, a lot of them don't go into a touch either, do they? They just fly over the top and score the try. But really, Gav, going into touch that area of the park, you've got to stay away from the touch line. It's a danger zone.
Yeah, look, tackle forward, David, again there. Not at the end of their set. Probably didn't need to take the risk to try and get on the outside on that occasion, although the good inside pressure from the East outside backs forced him that way, obviously, and were strong enough to get him over that sideline. So, not a lot of that Nui could probably do there. So the Tigers away. I've been impressed with this young lad on the wing there. Hughes made a couple of good run backs in the last few sets, so and gets a penalty here as well to get him right on the attack.
Yeah, great work there by Tommy Hughes from Newcastle last year. He's only a young kid as well, 23 years of age. Had a terrible run with arthritis attacks. He's been totally debilitated twice in his life, where he just couldn't move almost the whole of his body, but he's fought his way back and now playing top grade footy again. This time Leslie Brings it up to round about the 10 metre line. Another good chance for the Tigers. Up there to Ralph. Ralph turns the ball up to Billy Walters. A lot of traffic there. 4 defenders around Walters, so they're not giving too much latitude. They go back the other way. Booth throws the dumping. Can he spin over? Yes, he can. Did he hold
Lost it.
What's the call? No try. He was over. He was spinning. It looked like he was going to get it down, and he wasn't able to. So some strong defence there by the Magpies to save the day. Mitch Fry again charges up over the 30 metre line. This time the winger in Sopalola does well again. They're making pretty fast territory here, the Magpies. Run out of dummy half. That'll get him another 10 at least. Link Port tries to turn it back on the inside. Can't get past Tom Kenny.
Go to.
Hamilton a dummy half. Mago keeps it alive. Pretty hard to stop him offloading if it's one-on-one. Good tackle there to bring the Magpies to the ground to make sure there wasn't any more threats. Good defence as well there by Amy to rush up there on the big man. You've got to do it on Big George 5. Run out of dummy half here by Cherrington. Does pretty well to get up almost to the 10 metre line. Last tackle play. Kick will be on. This time up here to the big guy, the try scorer in Fry, loses it. Picked up by the centre in Tom Kenny. So the on the back foot pretty much on that whole set. Eventually the Tigers have done pretty well to save the day. Danzy Smaller. Okay. The Svenkston, I think, on that side. No, it's not.
Newman, I think, mate.
Newman it was. Booth.
Yep.
Good timing. The defence coming up very quickly, right on the advantage line. Lost it and stripped. Well, we've seen a lot of that, Gav. There's a lot going on in the play the ball. And interesting, we've got 2 referees tonight on the field. My understanding is they've used 2 referees when when Channel 9 have done the coverage, but in essence normally only 1. Interesting that there must be trialling 2 referees more often.
Yeah, I guess so, and I think it speeds the game up. It helps to clear the ruck a little bit more, I think, David, and just opens that game up a bit more. 6-2 the penalties to the Tigers at this stage. This is a very important set for them in attack. They really haven't shown a lot down that end and made a couple of errors, so see how they go with this lot.
Yeah, a bit more composure. I reckon you've got to get right on the front foot, get some good play the balls, and allow yourself a bit of time to put a play on. Let's see if they can do it. Booth works out a dummy half, races straight up the middle, knocked out of his hands again. Well, it was a powerful tackle. He was almost through the line and looking for support and got hit in that action. So it was what I'd call a forced error, and there was an opportunity brewing, but again, don't finish your set of 6.
David, that's got to be, I'm not sure, the 3rd or 4th time on early tackles down the attacking end that the Tigers have coughed the football up. They've actually made 6 errors in total out of 13 sets, so just travelling a little better than 50%, which isn't good enough in this competition to be able to keep the pressure on the opposition team.
It'll cost you the game, actually, if you maintain that. I'm sure they won't. I'm sure they'll rectify it. But you've got to create ascendancy before you can do the flary stuff, running through with hands out and offloading around and behind players. You've got to really get on top of the Tigers, because they've conceded so much possession. Haven't really got to a point of domination, albeit neither have necessarily the Magpies. Good strong run there by Brendan Gibb. Takes it down that right-hand side. They got to almost the halfway line on the 4th tackle. Defence rushing up. May go again.
15 up! Lost! Working your pat. Lost!
No, it wasn't. It was Sam TigerTV. Plenty of experience coming off the bench. Beware the bench of the Magpies. They've got Patrick Mago, who actually started the game even though he wore 17, and now Sam TigerTV, very experienced and linked with the Broncos organisation now. He'll give them some impact and some experience. Good run here by the young fellow in Hughes, prepared to come in and do the hard yards. This time, Amy. Good quick play the ball is necessary. That's good. Just charge at him again. Straight up the middle. Get a bit of domination. You'll buy a bit of area and time and space, and then you can put something on. This time out through the back line, up there to Ralph it is. Steps around. Nothing silly, mate. Take them on. Up the middle.
Last one. on now.
That was, I believe, Leslie. Kick this time by Walters. Chipped in the air, bit of pressure on. Ball knocked forward. Touched by South. So finally the Tigers get the break they've been looking for.
Yep.
Can they make the most of it?
East speed, touch by South.
Sopalula a bit disappointed with the call, as you would be.
Sorry, boys, up here, fellas, up here.
Wasn't much in it. There was a few players playing at it.
And again, David, you know, we've talked a couple of times about their attacking sets down here. Ideally, they just need to keep that pressure on, get a repeat set of 6, get through their set, get a repeat set of 6 if they don't score some points, and just keep grinding away, just getting a little bit of ascendancy.
They put the play on straight away. Cooper gets tackled by a good out-in play by, I think that was Link Port. This time to Leslie. Got good pumping legs has Bennett Leslie, I should say. Now tackled right under the 6. You don't have to push it, you just have to keep creating opportunities without doing it right in the traffic. Good pass up there to Tuolungi. Beautiful work there by Tuolungi. Fresh on the park, and a little pass there from Walters, and there was no risk about it. He did it just before the try line, gave Tuolungi just the slightest opportunity, and he's connected with the Melbourne Storm organisation. Great young prospect, Gav, and well, the good players make it look easy.
Yeah, look, it was just we'll see this again here in a minute, I'm sure, David. Just a little double pump from Billy Walters. Just threw a little dummy to start with, which just drew the defence forward just that fraction more. Dove right and cut right into the line did Walters, and then just popped the ball up to, very similar to the first try actually for South Logan, in the fact that just popped the ball. The runner in Tuolungi was running into the gap between the two players, and they just weren't far enough out from their try line because of the nature of where the previous play the ball was to affect that tackle. Effectively, what they've done, they've made the tackle, but they just weren't able to prevent him from basically falling over and scoring the try.
Yeah, they needed to close in on him, and but good work from Walters to just hold the pass up and create that half gap, and the good ball runners. And Tuolunga is certainly one of those players. He's a very capable young guy. Is Kelmar Tuolungi. And as I say, they make it look easy. Just a little short pass gave him half a gap, you'd say. The defenders probably thought they had him covered, and they didn't. And now a chance for the Tigers after a very rocky start to this game. Could take the lead with 10 minutes up to half time, and they don't do it. 4 points all. Aaron Booth will be disappointed with that. A very competent goal kicker, and both sides have had fairly easy chances for conversion, and we've got it locked up at 4-4.
Yeah, look, it's the Tigers really needed that. I'm sure that their coach will be a little happier with that set, in that they got through their 3 or 4 tackles to score the try. They put a little bit of pressure on. It's a good leg drive, as you mentioned in the earlier ruck there from Bennett Leslie on a couple of occasions as well. And just the way that Walters did that, just that he just isolated that defender on him, one-on-one basically, to allow Tuolungi to get that, have that advantage in size over the player opposite him to get to that try line. So 4-4 here.
Has he had an NRL game yet, Billy Walters? He must be close.
Yeah, he played a few last year, Dave. I'm pretty sure. But nothing this year. We've got another penalty coming out of the the defensive zone there.
Hand on the ball is the penalty, and that's a tactic to try and slow things down, obviously. And Amy it was who thought he was off and down the park for some good run meters, but instead they get the easiest meters of all, and that's from a penalty kick. Patrick Kafusi charges straight at the defensive line. Good chance now from a little bit of pressure off the Tigers now that they've got that first try. Let's see if they can be more cohesive. Leslie hit heavily. What a good tackle that was. Torpedoed out of the line. I think it was Fry. This time Tuolungi, he was the passer, puts the pass up to the little halfback there in Josh Ralph. Didn't have anywhere to go as the defence converged. Boyd, Tuolungi, He's the ball player now. Billy Walters throws the dummy, only because he didn't have much option. The defence rushing up so quickly on his outside. He wanted to give it to Kafusi but couldn't. Ralph goes to the line as well. Back this time to Cooper. Slips over. Can go again. Oh, just grabbed him as he was on the ground. Did Booth. This time, Ralph, little grubber kick through. It's a good one. Beautiful pick up there, though, by Jerome Burns. Picked it up off his ankles. That'd be good to see again if we could. He was on the fly, and it was a pretty good kick by Ralph. I'm often critical of kickers who put them up in the air there about waist high. Run out of dummy half here by Linkport. He can go length of the field if you let him run. He's lost it as well. That was a loose carry. Play on, correct decision. And the Tigers back in possession. Well, we've had a lot of changeovers of possession when you think of it, and it hasn't only been the Tigers. Tuolungi to play it. Up there to Walters. Good long pass on the outside here. Little bit of a dummy here by Kenny. Goes, runs again, tries to bump out of a couple more. Quick play, the ball required.
Go Sam, hold. Go one. Play the ball's okay.
Good clearance of the ruck. Gets it on the outside. Back on the inside to Tuolungi, their try scorer. Bumps out of one. Fending nicely. Hasn't he got it all? He can run, pass, fend, and score tries. Normally you can if you've got those attributes. Pass back on the inside there to Amy. He couldn't. Yes, he can offload. Does well with the arms even trap.
Touched.
6 to go. Charging run up the middle there by big Heath Wilson. Fresh on the field, the number 17. Tigers with a terrific chance. Charge at the line. And got it down. Well, that's what happens when you build pressure. I think it might have been Amy. Well done by the big man. I saw him play, I think it was against the Capras a couple of weeks ago, and he is a power runner, this guy, and he does extremely well there. Just to blast his way over. Actually, against the Capras, Gav, a couple of weeks ago, which was the Channel 9 game, the Tigers did really well punching at the line. I reckon they scored about 4 or 5 tries, very similar to that, really punching the play. So they certainly have the bulk and the firepower to do it. You've got to mix it up as well, depending on who you're playing.
Yeah, look, David, you're exactly right. They have scored a number of tries through that centre third. We'll just have a look at it here now. But again, it's just repeat possession. He just gets there. Again, the old spin move. Gets over the top. Fry just bumped out of that tackle leg. Wasn't able to stay involved in the match. And the 16 there in TigerTV just couldn't get there soon enough to assist the little hooker in Cherrington to hold him up.
You can't underestimate the spin. It makes it harder for the tackler to actually just grab at him. If he'd have just come straight at him and you get a chance to just hold him front on, you're less likely to have him slip out of your grasp. So that spinning action, which both Fry did it for South Logan earlier in the game, and then subsequently Tyrone Amy. Without that spinning action, you probably don't score. Finally, a kick that's gone through the uprights, and the Tigers now have snuck away to a 10 points to 4 lead.
And it's a little bit ironic, David. You know, East have certainly made far more errors than the South Logan Magpies, but the second error there, you might remember, just around about on halfway, I think Linkport might have just had the ball knocked out of his hands directly from that set. The Tigers score. So, South haven't been able to take advantage of the East mistakes. East perhaps got it in a little bit better field position on that occasion, and we're good enough to get that football over the line.
Yeah, 2 tries in 5 minutes certainly gives them a little bit of breathing room, but very important 5 minutes up to half time. Nice work there. Well, I think it was Cooper not to play at that with his hands, just trapped it with his legs. Actually, might have been Cooper, I think might have been Billy Walters actually. Now, very important for the Tigers to secure possession and get it down the other end. Booth does well to run out of dummy half, but puts his own players under a bit of pressure. Got away with it, though they did. Back on the inside now. Stepping run does well. The Magpies getting a little bit tired because they're not making the tackles now. They're getting to them, but quite a few offloads, which is an indication that they're just tiring a little bit. Tuolungi can't step this time. That's a better tackle. That was by Gibb. Look out, young fella, down the middle. You don't want to be running in there as a halfback. Booth does well to get it out there to Wilson. Wilson tries to stand in the tackle, tries to run over the top of the defence. Can't do. Last tackle play. Attacking kick is required. Now they run it. Knock on, play on. This should be. gone south, so that'll be a 6 to go, or a restart of the, it'll be a scrum actually. So a great chance now for the Tigers with less than 3 minutes up to half time. Pressure on the Magpies.
Sorry, mate. This game's really opening up in the last sort of 10 or so minutes, isn't it? I've noticed, when East have had the football, they're making good yards through the centre, then going to their edges. They're falling on their fronts, finding their hands and knees and so forth. We'll just have a look at this play again. Guy Hamilton there just getting a touch on the football and knocking down, which was probably a pretty important touch because it looked like the Tigers had some numbers there.
Yep. Now let's see what the Tigers can do. They do like to move it straight from the scrum. They go to the big man standing out wide there in Jack Svensson.
To me, hold! Go one.
Going to go down that short side. Ralph pops the pass up to keeper. Good pass on the outside. Hughes, can he get in the corner? I think he has. He's pretty confident. It looks like the officials are too. And the Tigers, well, they put on 3 tries in a matter of 8 minutes. And they did it from pretty much the base of the scrum. And they've tried to put on a few plays from the scrum recently and have often been foiled. But on this occasion, again with some good quick hands, I think they got Svensson involved there, in the corner there out wide, and they go on with the job.
Yeah, look, they do, and Svensson fights there hard to get up to his feet. Booth, a good wide pass there. Just the old standard second man play. I thought that pass was more forward than the first one that Hughes got denied, but they haven't called that. And good work by the Tigers. It just shows that those quick play the balls do work. Svensson's been very good at getting that opportunity and ability to get to his feet, to give his outside backs that opportunity. A good couple of wide passes there. The numbers seem to be squared up as 3-on-3, but just with that second man play puts the pressure on that outside 2-in defender as to which one he's going to take, and it just holds him up long enough there. Winger wasn't quick enough to come in. Good diving try by Hughes out there into the corner, and he gets just rewards for getting that.
Yeah, he certainly took a bit of scoring the last bit. They had to jump and keep his legs clear of the touchline. Good work from the Tigers. Boy, this would put some cream on the cake if he can kick this one as well. Already a 10-point lead after being down 4 points to 0. And now Booth, who's kicked 1 from 2. This is his hardest one, but on a preferred side for a right foot kicker. Head down and looks pretty good.
Yes.
Got it.
Off the post.
He's got it off the sticks. 16 points to 4. What a turnaround. The Magpies will be wondering what hit them in the last 8 minutes.
Yes, they absolutely will. And during that period, they've made there are only 3 errors, David. So, again, it's about where you make the errors, when you make them, and the opportunities that you're able to take from those errors, isn't it? And East have taken full advantage, where contrary, perhaps because the Magpies were a little bit more tired at the latter end of that half, where the opportunities that the Magpies got with East errors were earlier when East were fresher perhaps in defence. Half-time here at Langlands Park.
Yeah, half-time. We've now got the East Tigers 16 points to 4 after they were down by 4 points to 0 at the 30th minute mark, and then 3 quick tries by the Tigers. And as you say, Gav, you've got to make sure if you're making a few errors yourself, you've got to be able to defend your errors, and they weren't able to do that. The Tigers finally clicked. They hadn't clicked for 30 minutes. They'd been a little bit tardy, actually. But when they got their act together, they looked very impressive. As always, Billy Walters, one of the organisers. I've been impressed by Ralph. He's done some good work in setting up some plays. Sometimes goes a little bit too far into the middle of the ruck for mine and gets trapped in there. Or if you're going to try and set something up. But good effort by the Tigers, because with all the errors they made, Gav, you can't be rattled after that. They were making error after error in the first 20 minutes. Sometimes that can put you off and you don't recover. They did well to, reset the ship and score the points.
Yeah, look, they have, Dave, and it can work 2 ways. Obviously, it can put a whole pile of pressure on your defence, but it also gives you confidence that your defence is good enough generally to be able to hold out that attack from the South Logan. And South Logan were throwing some good attack at them. Yep. I remember on a couple of occasions they came one way and they reset immediately and went back the other way. So they're putting pressure both sides of the field on the edge defenders. So good work by the Tigers to come out of that with a good lead at halftime.
All right, good first half, and we'll be back in a moment with all the action of the second half.
There's always something going on down at East Leagues Club. Check out this Drysdale brasserie option. 2 for $25, pizza or any 2 bang meals. And membership is still only $2. Come down to East where we're just having a great time. The 2019 Grand Final winner odds, with East Tigers at the plus $6. Meanwhile, Northern Pride is sitting at $17 to finish off this season. Following up in the end is the PNG Hunters at $126.
Welcome back to Langlands Park here on Easter Thursday, and what a good way to start your Easter break, to come out on a beautiful evening here in Brisbane to watch what's been a fairly entertaining game. It's been a little bit scrappy, but once you put aside some of those errors, there's been some very good attack play and a perfect surface here at Langlands Park, and a great lead in people watching the game here tonight, and also everyone that's watching it live stream. Not only, well, you can watch it anywhere, can't you? You can watch it here in Brisbane, you can watch it anywhere in Australia, and of course all around the world. So a great opportunity to see what's happening in the Intra-Super Cup. The East Tigers have got a good lead at half-time. Now, not a winning lead, I'd say, because what I've seen of the South Logan Magpies so far, they haven't really clicked themselves yet. I think there's a bit more football they could play, and if they do, the Tigers will have to be at their best. But it's been an interesting first half, Gav, when you think of what happened in the first 20 minutes or so, and during that period at the 9th minute the South Logan got their one and only try, but the Tigers were pretty scrappy in that first 20 minutes and really weren't applying any pressure at all.
No, look, David, I said that, during the call that East made a number of errors, predominantly down their attacking end, but some around about the halfway mark to give South Logan those opportunities. They've really dried that up in the latter part there, obviously, when they scored those 3 tries and completed a number of sets back to back. So it was a very good defensive effort by the Tigers to keep the Magpies to just that single try. And then they were good enough to come back with their own points late in that half.
Yeah, very impressive. And anyone who can put on 3 tries within 8 minutes, they got their mind on the job. They took advantage of some very good play. Let's have a look at the highlights of the first half. This is the first try by the South Logan Magpies. They got in good attacking position, and the number 6 here in Hamilton as well, just to pop the pass up there to Mitch Fry, and that spinning action we were talking about for a subsequent East Tigers try was helpful in spinning out away from those defenders, and the Magpies were first on the board.
Yeah, they were, and the result of it was just getting that one-on-one opportunity.
This time Amy does another spinning action. That's the second Tigers try. That was in the 35th minute. Made look pretty easy, but they'd been applying a bit of pressure up until then. And so we've seen one each, one try from the South Magpies there, one from East Tigers. Really, all the tries, well, certainly the first 3 were from close to the line. The first try the Tigers scored, Gavin, you mentioned it, Walters did well just to hold it up a little bit and give it to Kelmar Tuolangi, and he was given just a half a gap, wasn't he? There was a couple of defenders there, but they were just spaced a little bit that they couldn't. Here's a bit of the action from the first half. But that, Gav, what I also liked, and this was a case of a bit of a strong build-up by the South Logan Magpies. That last try scored by the East, mate, was probably the best try, wasn't it? That little play down that blind side. It was a wide blind side, and therefore they had enough room to put on 3 passes, but it was very well executed.
Yeah, look, it was, and it's the typical play that the block play that all of the sides run these days, and it's just designed to that block runner just to hold up the one-on-one defender. So he's just got to hold him in a bit. The winger wasn't quick enough to come in out there in Port to shut that down, and away they went.
All right, very good first half. We'll be back in a moment for all the action of the second.
How about the facts in black and white, getting your loved ones home safely?
Fixed price fare, that's what I love.
Black and white cabs, 133 222. Book on the app or online. Everything's better in black and white.
Toner's Travelling Cruise has been offering tailor-made honeymoons for approximately 25 years. Since then, they've built an impeccable reputation on delivering inspiring honeymoons custom designed for each couple, no matter how unique or romantic.
Welcome back to Langlands Park. We've got some action coming up in the second half in a moment. The score at half-time, 16 points to 4 in favour of East Tigers. They're up against the South Logan Magpies. East would have been favoured to win this. They've only dropped 1 game this year, but it was last weekend when they got a real touch-up from the Sunshine Coast Falcons. They were defeated by 30 points to 6. But then, of course, there's some odds for the grand final winner. So this is looking well ahead. So the Falcons are at $4.50, East Tigers $6, the Townsville Blackhawk $6. This is progressing through. Northern Pride, so we're right out to the Catlers and the Cutters. I didn't notice what the Magpies odds were then. I may have been up there, but certainly I mean, it's too early to call in if the season's a long season, and certainly the Tigers have got off to a great start this year. They didn't last year. But this game is not over by any means. They're very capable, the Magpies. I don't think they were neat and welcome back to the second half. Really precise enough in the first 20 minutes of the game, and they had a lot of possession. The Tigers were hitting over the ball one after another, and they only got 1 try. The converse happened, and Gabby pointed it out. A number of errors by the Magpies late in the first half were capitalised on by the Tigers.
Yeah, Dave, there's a couple of interesting stats just come out of that. The Magpies only had 13 sets by Mike Kelly in that first half. They made 3 errors in their last 5 sets, and directly off those 3 errors, the Tigers scored. The Tigers, in consequence, completed their last 10 sets in a row, scored 3 tries after a poor start, scored 3 tries, and you'll remember had that try disallowed to Booth as well, who was over the line and lost the football. Could have been worse or better for the Tigers and worse for the Magpies subsequently.
What it shows is the game can change so quickly, so it ain't over yet. Stick close, because I think we're going to be in for a very good second half, as the Tigers started with trying to work it out of their own territory.
Brendan Square, hold!
To play it is Heath Wilson. Trying to get out of their own territory. Amy, one of the try scorers from the first half.
I don't think he had a spell, David, in that first half.
Which is a good effort for a big man.
Yeah.
Very good effort.
Don't play it on him.
Hold!
Play it. There he is again. He doesn't mind the work rate in. He steps away from the tackle. Goes straight at the middle, offloads. Gives it there to Ralph. Ralph offloads as well to keeper. Good quick play the ball, mate. It'll even be better than a pass because they're all offside. Straight up the middle comes the big number 17 in Wilson. Bumps out of the tackle. Go, son. Couple of metres out from the try line. Hit a dummy half, goes Booth up there to keep it. Beautiful long pass. What a good try. Out there to Hughes. Well, that'll go down on the highlight reel. That was the big forwards line the platform, storming up the middle, it started with the man, Gav, you were just talking about Amy not having a spell. He went straight up the middle. Not only that, he wasn't just happy with bumping off one. He then went and ran a bit further, offloaded beautifully then, I think, straight to Ralph. He had backup of more support, and then it's not a problem when you make a break like that to be tackled because all the defence is offside. Sometimes they try and throw those crazy passes, and of course everyone's still onside. You're better off, if you can't get away a good pass, take the tackle. They did it, and that was well executed to flick it out and put the winger in unopposed.
Yeah, look, try of the match so far, obviously, and perhaps try of the season for the Tigers to this point in their season. But it was a great try, well constructed. You know, Amy just found a little bit of a hole up the middle off a ruck, accelerated through it, and had good acceleration for a big man as well. Found Ralph up the middle, and I think it was Cooper who flashed up beside him. And then we see here the tail end of it. This is the next ruck. Heath Wilson takes that tackle, as you call David, and then they just roll around the left. Beautiful pass from Cooper there out to Hughes, cutting out I think 2 or 3 players. Obviously the South Logan defence in disarray. The initial bust was very good, and then they played football from there. Here's Wilson with that bumping run that we talked about. Gets a legs tackle there, so again can get a quick play of the ball. Gets up, and then it's just a great read from Hughes, isn't it? And from Cooper, I should say, to get that ball out to Hughes, and really well executed and really well taken advantage of.
Yeah, a really good team try, really clicked nicely, and the vision to spot the opportunity on the outside. The Tigers have made it very difficult now. I was going to say before all that action, the first try is going to be a very important one in this match. I still won't write off the Magpies as yet. Possession will be the key to this match now. I think that if the Magpies dominate possession, it's a big if, they could get back into this match, but if it goes the other way and the Tigers keep that form going, that was a first-class rugby league try, and it's gone out on the full. The Magpies are a little bit rattled here, and why wouldn't they be? They conceded 4 tries in about 10 minutes, and they're on a slippery slope.
Yeah, and it's not too dissimilar to the East start to the match in that they made a number of errors back-to-back. And they just have to regain control and get a bit of momentum in their attack once they get that football back. But at the moment, it's all the Tigers.
It sure is, and they get another opportunity because by putting it out on the full, it's a penalty at the halfway line. So here now the Tigers can go straight back on the attack. Newman takes the tap, up there through the hands of Ralph. Amy, who started that fantastic burst up the middle of the field. You wouldn't see better from a big front row, and not only did he do all that, he offloaded it beautifully to a flashing halfback. Tuolangi pops the pass up. Again, they go forward. I think that's Wilson. They've got some good size, the Tigers, this year. I thought they were a little bit light on last year. Good little set play too. Beautiful pass on the outside. Finally gets out there to Kenny. And again, Cooper looping in beautifully at the back. They've got a couple of nice little plays going, and they're doing it very precisely. Booth fires the pass up there to Ralph. There it is. A little pass, and it's gone astray. I think it was Wilson who tried to take it through the middle of the ruck, and the big fella Mago. Well, South Logan will be wondering what to do with this thing they've got now because they haven't had it for the last 10 minutes. Let's see if they can remember. Little pass up there to Sopalala. They can play the Magpies, and if they get a bit of ball, they will put some tries on as well. The Tigers, let's see if their defence is as staunch as their attack. And it's been pretty good so far in this game. They've only conceded 1 try. TigerTV up the middle. They don't need to push the passes yet, the Magpies. They've got plenty of time. Tanner Boyd throws a dummy, goes himself. You have to watch this young kid. Good work by the big front rower to catch the little halfback. There's many a big front rower being stepped by a little man like that up the middle. Hamilton, high kick. Important to take this one. Beautifully done. Danzy smaller. He does do that well. He's a tall lad. Came in nicely, did it, took it cleanly. Cooper kept it alive as well, out through the hands. I think it was Walters. And
okay, stand up now, 4. Get square.
Up to play the ball, the Tigers. So again, they're back in business. Hughes up over the halfway line. He was the guy who put the finishing touches on that magnificent team try. Kafusi, this time, he doesn't mind having a run, does Ralph. Prepared to go to the line, and that's okay, as long as you pick your time. Don't go up in too many dry gullies. Shane Newman up the middle, a very experienced Newman.
Might not be up the middle for a little while. He's got cleaned up by...
Reminding him why he doesn't do it as often. Kick by Walters, and this time into touch. It'll be a knock-on, I'd say. Oh no, it actually went into touch. So it'll be a scrum, not a changeover.
Dave, beside the 2 tries that Tom Hughes has scored, which he hasn't had to do a real lot, I've been really impressed with his play, though. He's been in the middle of that ruck, willing to get in and have a dig, and making really good yards with those carries he's having at the middle just to relieve those forwards. So having an exceptional game tonight, Hughes.
Couldn't agree more. He's got a good pumping leg action. He doesn't die in the middle there, so he's been very effective. As you say, 2 tries to go with it. So he roves around, but what he's required on the outskirts, he's the man there to finish off, and he's done it beautifully. 2 quite different tries, but they still took a fair bit of scoring. I think that's might be Burns coming down the line side. No, it wasn't. It was Newey. This time, Gibb. Again, there's plenty of time in this match, so they don't have to push the passes unnecessarily. Mago fires the pass out through the hands of Hamilton. Hamilton on the outside, then to Booth. Booth turns it then to Sopalorla.
Just play the ball fine.
Bit of ball movement, but they're not going too far forward. Mitch Fry up the middle, gets it almost to the 40-metre line inside Tiger territory. Last tackle play, dummying run, watch the little fella when he runs. Good work there by Booth to get in front of him. That's been knocked down. Is it a play on? No, knock on. Called knock on.
Great work there by Kelma Tuolangi. He came out and put the pressure on Tanner Boyd to start with. Boyd felt that pressure and took the run inside, and then needed to throw the pass because he got held up in the tackle and then the subsequent knock on. So good work by the big front rower. He's having a real wow of a game as well.
Yeah, we've said he's a hell of a player. There's Boyd trying to go up the middle, pops it out the back door. Pressure on though. See, once there's pressure on, you haven't got the time to think about those loose balls. The Tigers kept coming forward, and that's exactly what you've got to do. You've got to attack in those situations. If you sit back and watch the bouncing ball, it could be your enemy. Now, can the Tigers really put the cream on the cake? Up there to Walters. Tries to bump out, does well to keep it alive. Up to Booth. The Magpies not tackling as strong as what they were before. They're starting to send in tackles and offload other Tigers. This time up there to a beautiful inside ball by Ralph, and another one on the inside by Wilson. Now to play it Cooper. They work it down there. There's Ralph again. Turns it back on the inside beautifully, and another good little pass up there by Amy. Popped it up to Tuolangi, and we've got another one. Now what a good little interchange of passes up the middle of the ruck. Geez, I'm impressed with Tyrone Amy, and not only his strength and size, we've got a man down as well. But Amy, a nice one up the middle, and a little pass to go with it. Is that Tuolangi who's actually down, the try scorer? And he wouldn't lie down for any reason. This time Cooper, so they're trying to keep it alive. That was Wilson trying to keep it alive. And a good tactic too. Once you're ahead like this, you can be afford. Good work by Ralph. Back in there to Amy. Amy does well to pop it up to Tuolangi, and yeah, he was clipped as he went to the ground. Let's hope he's okay. Nice pass. Cooper plays it, but they've got the team rolling back. Those little interchange of passes are so damaging to defenders. Your defence isn't set properly. Ralph does well. Turns it back inside after stepping out. Amy does extremely well. Pops it up to Tuolangi, and that was awkward. Might have caught one just on the back of the neck, and that can be well, painful and a bit scary, just depending on the nature of the knock. do well to take it up the middle, Gav.
Yeah, look, a good inside ball there. It's just starting to throw a couple of inside balls. The inside ball there to Wilson, and again another inside ball to Cooper. And then we have another one here where Rolf takes it to the line again, just pops it. Amy was in a yawning gap. I think he could have scored it himself, but he did the right thing and passed it off to his front row teammate. So we've talked a little bit of pre-game, Dave, about the, he's seeming to score a number of tries up the middle of the ruck. Well, they're not just all just charge it up, bash them over and score the try. Obviously, there's some skill involved with inside passes. I think you've called it right, mate. What's happening here is that the Tigers are really starting to dominate. They're physically getting the ball into the tackle and getting their hands free to pop that ball, having the South Logan players needing to make second efforts. Quick play the balls as a subsequent result of that, and then they roll on inside passes, just challenging the defence all over the field, and ultimately they're finding the deficiencies in the Magpies.
Mate, once you start putting all that together, it's like a big snowball, isn't it? You know, you feel on the other side saying, well, how are we going to stop it? Because really, they're coming at you from all angles. You're desperate in defence, you're grasping in defence, and the players are some big men coming on strong, bit of a step into space, passes inside and out. It's pretty hard to stop the Magpies, and I was saying I think they're a good chance to make a game of this. It'll be as good a comeback as Tiger Woods, mate, if they can come back on this one.
Good old Tiger. Good to see him back in the spotlight again, for the right reasons.
For the right reasons, exactly. Yeah. So second try for the Tigers in the second half, and they really put them to the sword. 26-4 at the moment. Kick here by Aaron Booth. Comes in, should get this one, no problems at all. Puts it out to 28 points to 4. And a really plunging, punishing try up the middle of the ruck. You know you're in trouble when you're getting punched through the middle of the ruck. Sometimes if you're getting outskirted a few times, something's happening that people can't get across, you might get outfield. But when you're getting caught out with people coming straight through the middle, look out. You're going to have to close that out, otherwise they're going to get you everywhere.
Dave, did you ever throw a pass to your fellow front rower for a try?
No, I can't say as I have, Gab, but one of my lock forward mates threw me a pass once. I used to fancy myself setting up tries. A fellow called Greg Thomas. Do you remember Greg Thomas? Played for Brothers. And we were playing under 18. He passed me this ball, and I scored a try over the dead ball line. So they didn't pass me too many balls. But you're right, mate. There's not too many front rower to front rowers, but these guys have got some great skills. And it's been showcased here in the last 10 minutes or so.
17, mate, 10.
Boo tries to get out of that dummy half. Yeah, he was too tight and too close in there.
Double knock on.
Sure, it was...
It's a one-on-one, but he's knocked it out, and then it's a knock-on this way. First knock-on against Alex. It's one-on-one, but he's knocked it on.
Okay. So we'll get the loose head and feed. But really the lesson will be learnt there by Aaron Booth. You're going to run out of dummy half. You've got to get away from the marker. He's your biggest threat. And there was only one marker, and he ended up getting caught up by him. So he got a lucky result then. The lesson is, if you're going to run from there, don't let the marker grab you straight away.
Head in, give him a tunnel, second row.
Okay, let's see what they can do from here. They're getting plenty of opportunities, and they're showing us just how good they are at capitalising on them. They go down that right-hand side up there to Kafusi. Kafusi will love this time of the game. He is a man who can bump and offload. Up there to Ralph. Look after yourself, little fella in there. Booth. This fella loves the work rate too. Straight up the middle. Does beautifully to offload. Looked like he had a bit of rugby union background there. Hit, bump and turn around. We used to call it something slightly different to that, but the same message was clear. Here's Amy again. The work rate on these guys is terrific. They are rolling forward, and well, this is copybook stuff. Set a platform, put it out in your back line. Cooper, well, they didn't affect it then. The pass up then to Svensson didn't go to hand, but that was pretty much to the coaching manual there for a while. The big men taking control, platform set, put it out the back, couple of dummy runners, and watch them scatter. Well, it wasn't to be. 28-4. 24 points, 4 converted tries, 27 minutes. The Magpies just need to get some composure. The ball fed there by Tanner Boyd. Pass up there through Linkport. Up there to the fullback in Jerome Burns. And out of dummy half. Good little play it is too. Makes a bit of space down that blind side. Good work to come in and close it out was Danzy Smaller. Strong defence from the Tigers. I've been impressed that they have kept their line intact, albeit there was an early try, but since then they've done well. This time Brendan Gibb up over the halfway line. Third tackle, so a chance for the Magpies. Up the middle there, Phil Dennis, the wily guy. Highest number of games in the Winfield, or I should say the Winfield, in the Intra Super Cup. This time, couldn't handle it this time up there. First one off the Tigers, so we're going to get another retention of possession here by the Magpies. And, you never know if they get a couple of tries. Switch the pressure. And it's one of the few chances they've had to put a bit of pressure on. They set up with a fairly short back line, and as they often do these days, pretty much a double back line. So Boyd out there to Linkport. Port bounces, tries to get it around, pops the pass up then to Nui. Looked to be a bit of a settler and need to set up something for the other side. Let's see what they do. They've come to the right first. Back into the middle, there to Brendan Gibb. This will be all part of positioning the defence to put on a play. There's nothing coincidental about this. Long pass out on the outside. Boyd fires the pass out there through Hamilton. Hamilton puts it out to Fry, spins again.
Okay, Sean.
Lucy's mentioned play on it is. Stripped it was. It's been called as a strip. And a penalty to the Magpies. Another chance. Good desperate defence by the Tigers.
Wait now.
Let's see what they put on from here. They normally have a few plays that they'll use here too. And this time the big fellow in Fry.
Hell now.
No, it wasn't. It was TigerTV. Out the back. This time they work it out this blind side. This time to Mago. He's the strongest man on the field. And held up over the try line. Not strong enough to get it down. But there's still a threat there. Patrick Mago forced to come back 10 metres to play the ball. Alex Bishop in at dummy half. Pass up this time. Oh, Phil Dennis. Simple as they come. He would have caught those 5,000 times. That one straight into the breadbasket and straight out.
Just an interesting stat. The Tigers have made 2 interchanges to this point in time. So we're 17 minutes into the second half. Obviously Tyrone Amy hasn't been one of those. But just see a couple of the Tigers lining up on the sideline. It looks like Foster and Jaden Hunt will be coming on to make his A-grade debut here for the Tigers very shortly, which will be numbers 3 and 4. So, Sipple and his conditioning crew have obviously got the Tigers very, very fit.
They have, and I guess, Gav, they've been on such a good passage of play there, weren't they? From the 30th minute through to perhaps right up to 5 minutes ago, totally dominant. So he was prepared to just keep the ball rolling. Now if they can work their way out of their own territory, they haven't had to work too hard to do this in this last 20 minutes or so. Rushing defence here by the Magpies. They realise the game is in the balance. If they don't hold the wall here now, they're gone. Charging run up the middle. To Alangi. And the dummy half, Foster now working it. To Fusi. Dragged around. This time Billy Walters gets the kick away, be taken cleanly by Jerome Burns. Good ball runner, pretty good across the ground, straight into the defensive line at 100 mile an hour. Good defence in the end to just slow him down a little bit. This time Sopalola up over the 40. Attack building. Down the middle they come. I think that was Gibb. Phil Dennis pops it out the back. Up there to Hamilton. Hamilton turns it back on the inside. Good cover defence, cuts down Mitch Fry. Out of dummy half. Up there to TigerTV, nowhere to go there, so he decides to come back this way. Up to Hamilton. The defensive line pretty strong. Just knocked down. If he could have got a hold of that, there would have been a race on. Shane Newman in the back end of his career would have certainly still given them a run for their money. I'm sure he would have got some good support from Hughes on this wing. But it was necessary to block this. Hamilton floating across, a couple of little dummies, just tries to pop it out. Good work by Newman, really, to block it. I like the way the Tigers kept their line intact there, Gav. No gaps, even though they were trying to search and find another one at different locations.
Yeah, just a bit of continuity for the Magpies in attack here as well. So let's see how they go with this opportunity to get some respect back into this scoreboard.
One more.
Sapalola.
Coming now.
To settle up the platform. This time Bishop fires it up there to Mago. Mago, the big man, does well to stand in the tackle, fires it back to TigerTV. He couldn't hold it, picked it up there by Burns. Burns dances around a little bit but can't get through. Good work from Billy Walters to make the tackle. Bishop, Dennis, TigerTV was a dummy man. Boyd chips it over the top. Great opportunity, that's Lee Port. Well, he knows this area, this park so well. What a good try by the crossfield kick by Tanner Boyd. Link Port just waiting for it out there. He was that wide, no one else was near him. And don't you love those tries, Gav, when there's so much positioning involved in it, all done quickly in the run of play. Whacks it on the outside there. You've got a peripheral vision to pick this up. Mago does well to keep the ball alive, and then the backs do the rest.
Look, it's just what's his name there is Burns. Looks very lively as well, doesn't he? Looks very sharp. Has had too many opportunities, but it's just the vision here which is amazing. These young fellas, they're so skilled and so aware of the surroundings in the match. We just go back and have a look at that offload again and see Burns has having a little run here, but didn't get to that kick. But great work from Tanner Boyd. It's just they're so mature. There's so much vision that they have. They just got a sense for the game and a feel for the game, and they know the opportunities are there. I think Link would have been probably put a bit of a call in there as well to Boyd, just to let him know that he was open, and no doubt Boyd has probably seen him score a number of tries like that here for the Tigers in previous years.
Yeah, very neatly done. Great precision to put that kick over there with that precise nature. He's got a big rap on him, Tanner Boyd. One of his strengths is his kicking game, and he's obviously on the. He's part of the Broncos system. I don't think he's in their top squad at the moment, but still only a very young kid. And you see there the ability he's got to manage the game through his kicking. Well, the old kick again, and they've got one. Out on the full. That's a bit unlucky. This ground used to be famous for it because it used to be 100 yards long, not 100 metres, and the visiting teams, us poor brothers players, used to come here, Gavin. No one told us it was 100 yards long.
Should have done your research before the match, Dave.
I know, mate, we're never big on that. But of course this has been redone, this ground, and it's one of the best in Brisbane. It's the full 100 metres, so the Tigers have just launched that too far. It's the second time we've seen a kick out on the full in this match, one by each side. But guess what? This allows the Magpies to just get a little sniff. There's Gibb. He takes it forward. They're set up beautifully left side. They've got a double back line out here. There'll be a couple of dummy runners. Phil Dennis lets one go, fires it up then to Hamilton. Good defensive line over there. A wall of about 5 players. Had nowhere else to go but to ground. Run out of dummy half there by Bishop. Turns back on the inside. Dennis up there to Mago. They're starting to get into a little bit of gap now. Good strong defence there by Leslie to thump him to the ground. Bishop out of dummy half. Go to the line, could go all the way himself. Good strong tackle he's got there though. Bishop has made it. There was plenty of impact in the tackle initially, but again I think there might have been another bumping and spinning action there. Look at him, he's only a little pocket dynamo. Got a good run out of dummy half. didn't look to be anything on. I'll be interested to see who was the one who actually just didn't grab at him. He actually appeared to put a good bump on him, but wasn't able to stop him. And down on his haunches there is Patrick Kafusi. But all of a sudden the Magpies could get this back to 28 points to 16. We've got a 12-point ball game then with a long way to go. So game back on. And it's back on because the Tigers have somewhat let them back into this match, but also the Magpies, and that's an important kick as well. So 28 points to 16, still in favour of the Tigers, but Bishop running out of dummy half does very well to score that. And it looked to me that he was covered, but obviously in the end he wasn't. So the Tigers, let's see if that gives it. Here he goes here. That was Kafusi with a pretty good hit on him, but you could see how he got his body turned past Kafusi's, and that was enough to allow him to get the ball down.
Yeah, it was, and Billy Walters was short there on that side, and it was waiting for the inside defence to come across, so he couldn't come forward to stop that run from Bishop, and obviously great work from Bishop. He survived the hit and roll from Kafusi.
All right, they've got to stop the bleeding, the Tigers. They put a Band-Aid on there, so more than a Band-Aid. Bishop works out a dummy half, does look sharp. Is it Boyd again? Dashing run, yes it was. So he's starting to run the ball a bit more now. Everyone's tired out there, so these little guys are going to get a chance. Hamilton goes to the line. Oh, that's a high tackle. And that's what happens. Players get a bit tired. Hunter's out there as well, the number 16. Now this is where if you start running the little guys and you're a bit tired, people will hang out the lazy arm.
Well, that's exactly what happened there, Dave. And, again, this game's sort of gone in spurts with control of the football, and the tries subsequently have come. There's 4 or 5 sets in a row again here for the Magpies, and they're on the roll.
They sure are. Quick tap here taken by Nui. Dummy half. Bishop will take control there. Pass up then to Dennis. He's been pretty effective to TigerTV. Wasn't really on the burst there and got hit strongly by Lavea. They work the blind side. Dennis again, the first receiver, does well to put it on the outside to Hamilton. They're over the line again, but are they held up? And number 4, Booth, Cameron Booth is over. It's another try, and they've scored themselves 3 tries in around about 6 minutes, I'd say. So they are really now going to put a lot of pressure on the Tigers. What an important kick this one is to make it a 6-point margin. Good work here to get Booth over the try line. And Phil Dennis has made a bit of a difference. He's been one of the players who's become first receiver, gives them another option, and it gives opportunities then for Boyd to run an attacking game on the right-hand side. And then when Dennis went to first receiver and did a little bit of switch play then on the left-hand side, he opened it up for Hamilton to put Bishop or Booth over. So the old wily fox in Phil Dennis is certainly giving them a few other options.
Well, I think he just gives them a little bit of direction, doesn't he? Hamilton's probably more of a runner than anything else. Tanner Boyd, still young, with the goal kick, which is missed, which is an important miss for the South Logan Magpies. Obviously, if you're an East Tigers fan. But Dennis, just with that experience and cool head, he just must be able, he is able to pick the right way to go. Gives that opportunity for Hamilton then to play the running role rather than the organising role, which he's not as good at, I don't believe. And then again, it was just he just into the line, just got to the inside shoulder of that previous defender. His outside runner just ran beautifully into the hole, popped the pass, straight in his path, and a try.
Yeah, that's all you need, a little bit of space. Let's see now whether the Tigers can get back into this match. Wobbly old kick again. The last time they put it out on the full and allowed them to go pretty much length of the field. They're going to try and run this here now. They will throw caution to the wind, the South Logan boys. They've now got to score twice in the last 12 minutes. Still plenty of time, really, in the context of this game. But the Tigers will have to go up a gear. No doubt they thought they had this one, and they've let in 3 tries in 8 minutes. And here comes Gibb, straight up there, powerful tackle up the middle as well. Who was that? That was Tuolungi. He has absolutely poleaxed him there, and it was a totally legal tackle as far as I saw it. He really came in with a lot of forward force, and poor Brendan Gibb felt the full brunt of it. Alex Bishop sounds like he's unhappy. Let's have a look. There's the pass by Bishop up there to Gibb. It looked legal to me. Bishop's not happy. And here is here. Kabang. That's just a good tackle. Good tackle. Good front on tackle. He knocked the stuffing out of him, but to his credit, Brendan Gibb has the ability to breathe back into a bit of air back into his lungs again. Good run this time to TigerTV. Gets on the outside. They'll try and offload a few more balls as well. They've got nothing to lose. They want to create maximum opportunities for tackles, so there's a pressure on. They're going to kick early. Covered nicely there by Hughes. Important now the Tigers. They don't do anything silly. Hughes almost threw himself. Oh, good effort by Hughes. Got them on the front foot. Play the ball quickly. Newton, he's lost it. Well, the South Logan players saw that. They were all motioning to the touch judge and the second referee that Hughes had lost the ball in the tackle. He almost got through, but instead he's surrendered possession, or the Tigers have. And boy, it's backs to the wall now. Hasn't this game changed?
It's amazing what happens when you take your eyes off the game for a minute. I'm jotting notes down all over the place because it's happening at 1,000,000 miles an hour. There's attack, there's defence, there's no defence, there's plenty of attack. It's a very exciting game and I'm really enjoying it.
The Tigers feel like they're taking notes as well, and it's 1,000,000 miles an hour. Let's see if they can withstand it. This time, Sopa Lawler gets up over the halfway line. Bishop in a dummy half. Straight up the middle there goes Booth, just a settler. That's okay, you can afford to settle in that situation. They're very flat, they come down the blind side. Had a good game, has Mitch Fryer. Bishop, nice little one-handed pickup up there to Hamilton. Hamilton fires it out the back to Boyd, another one out the back to Burns. Burns has a bit of a look, almost gets through as well. Scrambling defence, still 2 more to go, 3 more to go before the end of the set. Boyd, pass on the outside to Mago. He can stand in a tackle. Good work to wrap him up and over the top. Nice work there by Leslie. That was a big tackle to make. An offload there could have been dangerous. Up this time to Dennis. Dennis there to Hamilton. Grabs the through. It's gone too far. Oh no, did he have to kick it dead? No, it's gone over the dead ball line without the assistance of the Tigers. So, well, they shouldn't be breathing a sigh of relief at the moment at all. They should be knuckling down. Strong run up the middle then by Danzy Smaller. Not afraid to come in, the big lanky winger. They work down a blind side, looked a little bit clumsy, a bit of pressure on. Their palms are sweating, the Tigers. They're under a lot of pressure here after they were cruising at 28 points to 4 about 15 minutes ago. Maybe a little bit more than that. Tungalangi punishing defence. They're rushing up the Magpies. A little bit of leeway will be given in this situation too. Tigers out there to Walters out through the hands of the halfback in Ralph. Quickly wrapped up though on the outside. I think it was might have been Cooper. Straight up the middle. Here we go again. Here we go again. Plenty of time and 8 points in it. You can score 18 points in 8 minutes. Let's have a look. Pass out this time to Ralph.
In we go.
Up there to Leslie. Takes them on. Invites the collision. And ball on the deck. So good defence there by the Magpies. They're going to make the Tigers sweat here. The Tigers really haven't had any decent possession for about 20 minutes. A little bit of a wrestling in the scrum there. I was going to say fisticuffs, but that's not allowed anymore. Tigers must move up in defence. You've got to move up just as quick as what the Magpies are. You can't stand back. That's better. Up almost to the advantage line. Good rushing defence there by Sam Foster. The bench players who've come on and a bit fresher, they're the ones who've really got a lift, and they've knocked it on. Good work, the Tigers. They did come up pretty strongly and forced an error themselves. forced Hamilton to run, and the little guys can get crunched in a situation like that.
Yeah, look, they can, David, and that's two errors in a row from Hamilton. Unfortunately, he's had a pretty good game here tonight. But the little grubber that rolled dead just a moment ago, and then the error there, it really just takes the wind out of the sails, doesn't it, for the Magpies? They haven't got a lot of time. What do we got? 7.5 minutes to go. They need 2 tries to get level and a couple of conversions to get in front. So the Tigers should be able to just grind this away and get home, but they need to control the ball better. They've coughed up at 5 of their last 6 sets.
Good work there by Svensson to step his way upfield. Make sure you don't lose the ball in the tackles like that. You've got to hold tight once you think the tackle has been affected. Run out of dummy half. Good one too by Sam Foster. He's showing a bit of dash. He's recently come off the bench. Up there to Billy Walters. Goes himself. Walters tries to look back on the inside. Decides not to throw it. Good work by Walters. Wasn't worth the risk. Up this time to Ralph. Ralph fires the pass up then to Levea. Levea can break a tackle as well, but can't get through this time. Very close to the try line. 4th tackle. Put some plays on, boys. Don't play conservative. At the line. He's dropped it. Leslie. Little pass back on the inside up the middle, and Leslie puts it on the deck. So strong defence in the middle. Just couldn't handle it. And what you got to do is set your line and make it hard for them to get out. The Magpies will be trying to get at least to the halfway line and get a kick downfield and put some pressure back on the Tigers. That's at least what they'll want. They'll hope for more, and instead the Tigers have got to stop that. They've got to get up there and make those tackles. You can't afford to miss a tackle at this stage. Burns comes down a blind side. Good quick play the ball. He has been dangerous. Linkport out of dummy half, up against his old teammates. They've made it to the, and they've knocked it on. Good work, Tigers. Linkport not happy. Linkport not happy. Pocket referee there. You can hear the players saying, well, how come you can't see that? Let's have another look. Here it is. We'll get a good look from behind here. Linkport brings it up. Awkward position. I think it was a bit of a loose carry. There was a hand near the ball.
Heads in. Come on. East ready. Let's go south. Head in.
And the Tigers get the call, and it's a very important one. Still 5 minutes. There's time for the Magpies. Can they... Oh, against the... I reckon he could have let that go. There seemed to be nothing wrong with that at all.
David, you just don't have scrums won against the feet anymore, so they just blow it up automatically, I think, because they're so surprised that it's happened.
And it looked like it was in the scrum to me. Sometimes it sort of bounced out, you know. All the pressure in the... there was a push by the Magpies. You don't want to play slow now. What you can do is play fast. That's the most important thing you do. If you play slow, you're a sitting duck. There they go again. Oh, penalty. Wow. Wow, that's a big call this time. Got him inside the 10 metres.
Their obligation to be on side, guys.
That is a big call, and she's going to walk him another 10 metres, the referee. So Belinda Sharp is walking them back. Now, what is it? Score 8 points. Yeah, this is definitely the only decision to take. Let's see what they can do from here, the Tigers. They'd love to put it beyond doubt. Pass back on the inside to Leslie. Strong defence in the middle will hold him out. The Tigers are coming at them. The Magpies have got to hang on for dear life. Bit of a dummy run play out there through Walters. Don't throw any silly passes up there to Kafusi. Kafusi gets taken. He's lost it. He's lost it. Sopalorla picks up. Well, 4 minutes to go. They could still win at the Magpies. We could still get a grandstand finish. Tanner Boyd forced to run it inside his own territory. He wasn't the man to have to run from there in close quarters. Pass up there to Sopalorla. Penalty from the neck. Lee Walters wasn't the one that was involved in it. He can't understand what's going on. Might have been Kafusi, just got him in an awkward position. Now, that makes life a little bit easier for the Magpies. They can definitely get down in the attack zone and possibly make it a grandstand finish. Charging run here by Fry. He's lost it. Wow. Great defence. Billy Walters in that Kafusi. The two guys, I think, that were involved earlier have made up for the previous loss.
Let's go, boys.
Frustration building, particularly in the Magpies camp.
Come on.
Well, can anybody hold the ball? If the Tigers hold the ball for this set of 6, you'd think they can't lose. Good, strong defence.
Dave, just from the stats that I've been taking, of the last 14 sets combined from both teams,
let me guess,
3 completed, 2 of those have been the result of penalties.
Gee whiz. Okay. If they complete this set of 6, you win the game. I think it's as simple as that.
Hold! Hold!
Slow play the ball, but you mean you're going to get belted in your tackles once you go to slow play the balls. You're going to get manhandled. Quick play the balls mean roll on.
Hold!
Let's see if they get any roll on at all. That's better.
Yep.
That might have been...
Stand together! Yeah, Alex, hold. Go 3.
Another charging run, so playing it pretty safe, and that's the way to do it.
Wait.
It's time to Vaya.
Go 4.
Pass back on the inside to Leslie.
That's fine. Last tackle, 8!
Last tackle. In goal will be good. In goal will be good.
Last one.
Up here to Cooper. They're going to run it. They don't have to score. Shane Newman, that's fair enough. The turnover there. We'll come back for a 10-metre scrum.
Hand the ball over.
No, sorry, just a handover. So they got to do it on the spot. So that's a pretty good play there by the Tigers, and good experience by Newman, just to take it right to the line.
Play on with the 10.
This time,
straight up.
Burns.
To me, work here. Go 2.
Right out of dummy half here by Linkport. Picks up a few extra metres. 1.5 minutes to go. 8 points in it in favour of the Tigers. Out here to Boyd. They're going to put a play on. Pops it out the back to Hamilton. Hamilton fires it. Comes back on the inside. Another lost ball. Loose carry. Well done by the Tigers. They've hung on for dear life to make sure that this onslaught of 3 tries in a row isn't going to cost them the game. They'll learn from it. Kafusi runs out of dummy half. Good bumping play. Oh, he's lost it. He's lost it. Well, just like the old days of the leather footballs and the muddy grounds, Gav.
Dave,
I've seen so much lost ball in the tackle.
We've seen the best and the worst in this match, haven't we?
Yeah,
we saw some scintillating tries, some good individual skills, and a whole pile of errors recently.
Come on, boys.
Some of it has been forced, others have just been loose carries.
Let's go, Pat.
Stay here.
It just means now
2 hands in.
the Tigers
Time on.
a little bit more pressure to withstand. Good tackle there on Burns, who has looked dangerous. You've got to get a bit of space on him to catch him.
Second marker there.
Charging right up the middle, he needs to keep it all right. Good offload.
Pat, here, hold. Go 2.
Hamilton back on the inside. Good ball as well. It was as well. Straight up the middle goes Linkport. Gets away from a couple of tackles. Have a look for support, son. That's when you needed to keep it alive. Only 15 seconds, so it's not going to matter now unless they can somehow get an 8-point try. Okay, Boyd up over the... and he tries to kick it as a desperate measure. Play on. The Tigers get a hold of it. The referee had called time. She does now, the referee. And that's it. The Tigers, well, they have hung on, and only barely, after a commanding lead at one time in the first half. Certainly in the probably about the 15th minute of the first half, they led a commanding lead of 28 points to 4, and then South Logan sparked into action. They scored 3 tries in 8 minutes, one by Port, one by Bishop and one by Booth. Got back to 28 points to 20 with a conversion kick to come, and missed what was not a difficult conversion, and that left the gap out at 8 points. It gave a little bit of breathing space to the Tigers. Psychologically, the game is different when you've got an 8-point advantage, and then we had a continuation of lost ball in tackles, which, as Gavin rightly summarised, we've seen the best and the worst in this game. The first try of the second half is one of the best tries you could see in what it involved. It involved some big forwards up the middle, making breaks and then going on to run another 10 metres in traffic. Offload the support play in the backs, then a tackle made 15 metres out, and then the Tigers were good enough to go on with it with a beautiful play to put a winger over untouched in the corner. So it was just a terrific effort by the Tigers. I think this is the lead up to that first try I'm talking about. Cooper plays it, Booth runs out a dummy half. They look for a bit of support play. Preceding this was a great ruck play down the middle by Amy, and then they went on with the job there. They got up down the middle, they punched holes in the middle, and then a beautiful movement out onto the back line that went through to Cooper and out to Hughes, who went over untouched in the left-hand corner. And that was just a really good effort by the Tigers, and that really gave them a flying start to the second half. They led with a good lead at half-time of 16 points to 4. It jumped out within a minute or so to 24 points to 4, and then another good try with some work up the middle by Amy, offloading to Tuolungi, and they got out to that what appeared to be a winning lead. It did end up being a winning lead, but only just. I'll now go down to Gavin Payne. He's on the touchline with one of the players.
Yeah, thanks, David. Down here with Tyrone Amy, front row for East Tigers. Tyrone, a game that looked like you had comfortably won, but they snuck back into it late in the match.
Yeah, they definitely didn't give up. It was always going to be tough. We come off a huge loss in our first loss of the year, and we were looking to bounce back. But they started strong. They got the first one, and we responded. And yeah, in the back end of that second half, they really came home strong. So we're lucky to stop them. But yeah, tough game, very tough. Good to get the win though.
And mate, a good performance by yourself as well. Played the entire first half, and your first spell and final spell was at the 57-minute mark. You must have good fitness to be able to keep that going in the engine room.
My fitness has been the battle at the moment. I didn't do a proper pre-season. I only came up here about 6 weeks ago. So yeah, I've been battling with my fitness, trying to get right and trying to do all the little things right. But yeah, I was lucky enough to play the full first half, and yeah, hopefully build off the back of this performance. But yeah, tough.
Yeah, no, looked very good, and the Magpies obviously came back at you very hard. Ironically, all the scoring started probably 2 minutes after you were replaced, so you're obviously the glue that was holding the team together.
I wouldn't say that, mate. They're always going to come home strong. They're very big in the middle, like the forward pack, so once they get going, they're always going to be hard to stop. So it was just, the momentum swung, and like I said, we're lucky to hang on. They were coming home pretty good, so yeah, very, very tough, good win, but yeah, good to bounce back after a loss.
Yeah, personally yourself, mate, a try and certainly a big assist in another try. I thought you could have got a bit greedy and scored that second one yourself, but you give it off to your front row partner.
Yeah, I thought I was nosediving. I was heading for the ground, but yeah, fortunate enough to get over and set up one. So yeah, hopefully, like I said, build off the back of it. But yeah, just keep winning, and yeah, it's a good feeling, great feeling.
Yeah, look, as you said, a good bounce back from the loss last week against the Sunshine Coast. 6 out of 7 now. You've got a couple of home games coming up as well, so you'll be looking forward to them, and that would be, if we could win 2 or 3 of those, a really strong start to this season.
Definitely. We always get a good crowd here, so yeah, definitely good to get a few home games in a row, and hopefully, like I said, build some momentum now, and yeah, build off the back of this performance. We held on, and yeah, credit to us. Okay, we bounced back good, so yeah.
Yes, you did very well. Thank you very much for having a yarn to us. All the best in the future matches, and congratulations on an outstanding game today.
Thanks, heaps. Thanks, guys.
What a good game Tyrone May had. There he is, charging up the middle. He was the one that was the spark for that, the try of the match. He had a great bumping run up the middle of the field. He was probably about 55 metres out at the time. Did a great bust, and then it went on from his bust to this passage of play. And they continued up the middle. Big Wilson was charging as well, and South Logan, they decided they weren't going to go away. And to their credit, they put on 3 tries, not all converted. There's Linkport up against his old team. This is late in the game. Good busting run. He was a bit of a shame he couldn't have just kept it alive there, because it was a case then of anything goes. There's Linkport. What a beautiful run up the middle. He evaded a few, and that was the time then to look for a bit of support. They came at him pretty quickly, and Cooper was one of them. And he had a very good game, Cooper. There were some good players from both sides, but the 2 guys from Newcastle that the Tigers have brought this year in Matt Cooper, the fullback, and also Tom Hughes, who played on the wing today in the number 2 jersey. They were both very impressive, I thought. Billy Walters is always good organisation, looked sharp, looked dashing at times. I thought Josh Ralph was very, very busy. And then some good work by Amy and Booth again, and Tuolungi. So there were some very good performances. And also for South Logan, I think they were well served. Their halves kept things organised. And I thought Fry was very good for them as well. And Phil Dennis. So some good efforts all round. But the Tigers, in a 5-try-to-4 effort, have come out the victors, which means that they will stay probably in second place now. They've only lost the one game, so they've now got, I think, 6 out of 7, which is a very tidy start. And if you take the best of their footy, Gav, they're going to compete with any side. There's a bit of stuff to work on at the other side of it with the loose ball, loose carries.
Yeah, look, there is, Dave. Indeed, there's plenty to like in that game, and I'm sure Scott Sipper will predominantly look at that throughout the early part of next week. They were very good there for probably a 15 or 17 minute patch either side of halftime when they scored the bulk of all of their points basically. Yep. And from that point on, outside of that, they were horrible.
Yep.
I mean, they coughed up the football. I don't know. There's not many. There's more circles on my stat sheet than there is uncircled sets of 6.
Yep.
So probably 10 or 12 errors in that second set. They probably, I'll just have a quick tally, 4, 5, probably about 7 out of 16 in that second half.
Yep.
So it's a good thing they piled those points on early in that second half and did enough to hang on and win that match.
Mate, it's a tough question, but is there anything you could put your finger on there in terms of what they might have been doing differently or wrong? It would just look a bit clumsy, if anything, didn't it? Maybe concentration. Maybe they thought they had it won. Maybe just took a little bit of concentration out of their play. But anyway, those are the sort of things you can say. You can fix that. I mean, these guys can catch a football and they can pass. So you can just say, look, and concentration is often one of the. We've often spoken about it. When you're in the vicinity of the ball, you must have ultra concentration going. If you haven't, the chances are you will lose it. So a good effort by the Tigers. On 2 counts, one to establish a good lead and then to hang on. Let's have a look at some of the highlights from the match, and we did get some very good tries in this particular game. This was Phil Dennis creating the try for South Logan in the second half when they popped it out to the back line and got a pretty good try for Booth. And that was their 3rd try in a row for the South Logan boys. TigerTV playing that one. Again, Phil Dennis going to the line, pops the pass up there. There's Booth getting across the try line. That made the score 28 points to 20. And they were somewhat fortunate. This big fellow Wilson had a good game as well, Gab, but somewhat fortunate, the Tigers, that they didn't convert that try. This was the end of the try of the game, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that was
absolutely.
a beauty. That had a lot going for it, that try.
Yeah, it was a try of the match, there's no doubt about that. And it sort of, it was really the end of East playing the game. You're right, Dave. I think that, one of the hardest things to do in rugby league, as we see Wilson just take this bumping on again, one of the hardest things is when you establish a good lead is to really go on with it. You don't often see, a 50-4 scoreline or a 44-10 scoreline or something like that. It's often you get out to a good lead, you have a relax, and before you know it, as happened tonight, bang, 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 they're back in the match, and all of a sudden you've got a real scrap on your hands when really I felt he should have won this game and won it quite comfortably.
Yeah, they should have won it going away. And again, that's another lesson you then learned. You've really got to keep the pedal to the metal. You can't take it on. And the really, some of those NRL sides, they're ruthless.
Yeah.
When they get on top, like the Storm and others, Roosters, the sides that are really on song, when they get on top, they can put the 50 on. And that's what the mentality you got to have. You can't put the cue in the rack because these sides will come back at you. And that was certainly evident there today. With a bit of luck, the Magpies could have gone all the way. That's easily what could happen.
Correct.
But look, overall, I think we've had a very entertaining match today. There were 9 tries scored. The Tigers had the better of it. They scored 5 tries to 4, and the final score was 28 points to 20. So a good start from the Tigers. A little bit to work on with the Magpies. They were a bit cold earlier, but they did show glimpses of what they're capable of as well. So a very good end result for the Tigers, and we'll be back in another 2 weeks' time, I think, for Tiger TV. We'll be back here at Langlands Park, and this will be a beauty as well. This is on Saturday week, so that'll be the Saturday after Anzac Day, so the 27th, 3 o'clock, playing the Redcliffe Dolphins. And my understanding, Gav, because I've been out of the country a little bit for the last few weeks, the Dolphins are struggling a bit, I think, at the moment, aren't they?
They are indeed. I think they're 1 from 6, Dave.
Yeah, which they were one of the favourites originally. So you can imagine, obviously they'll have to play this weekend, and then we'll see what happens the weekend after. But you can imagine they'll come out firing. So I think we'll have a terrific game on in a couple of weeks' time. So hopefully you'll be able to tune in as well and enjoy Tiger TV from Langlands Park here on the 27th of April. Hope you've enjoyed tonight's game, and this is David Wright and Gavin Payne signing off on behalf of the Tiger TV crew.